Hey, Tactical here. Today we're going to be talking about samurai knives. So I would like you guys to guess which one of these knives do you think is the most expensive and which one do you think is the cheapest. Also, make sure to comment which one you like the best. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. I know that's a bit of a selection there, but go ahead and have fun with that. Make sure to post in the comments which one of these knives you think is the most expensive and which one you think is the cheapest. Also, comment below which is your favorite. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. If you think this one is the cheapest, you're wrong. This one right here was $21. This one is the cheapest at $14, and this one is the cheapest at $14.50. This one just sucks. This one also sucks. This one is the most expensive at $131 with the VG10 steel. I like these. This one costs $14.50. It has an assisted open. It flicks out pretty heavy. It has a very light handle. So this knife only has a design on one side of the knife. You get what you pay for. It's obviously printed on there, and I'm sure that will wear off. There's a little bit of texture to it, but it's not a great grip. This is clearly not a high-end knife. The knife itself sits crooked. There's a dull spot right up here near the first tip, or the first point on the tanto and the second point. All right, so I'm gonna set that guy down, moving on. So this one right here, a whopping $14.95, so 45 cents more than this one. So I'm not expecting much difference in build quality. Is completely misaligned in there, so there's a friction point there. I'm gonna go ahead and press on this little guy. All right, it flips all the way out on the first try. That's very good. It has a liner lock. It has the type where you don't even have a part on the outside. So you have a handle on this side and then it's naked on this side. I've never been a big fan of these. There is one benefit to them, is the harder you squeeze them as you're using them, the harder you hold your liner lock in there in position. So the liner lock works with your grip as you're using it to keep the knife in position. I've found myself, my fingers have gotten pinched in here with some models. I'm not a big fan of how thin the steel is right here. The blade is all right. This is not a tanto design. I don't even know what this thing is doing in here. Oh, I guess it just has the cool design on one side. But this is not actually that cool. It has a pretty, the demon's kind of nice, but the plastic finish here has a nice little wave feature on the blade. That's definitely gonna wear away pretty quickly. I think that might even be painted. It looks like it's etched, but I think it's actually just painted. Oh, so I do notice in this $15 knife that if there's any back tension on it, that even after you take the tension off, getting your liner lock is really difficult. It kind of sticks. The liner lock really, yeah, you can see right there. See how it got stuck right there? I'm pressing really hard. Nothing. Actually, I broke. Okay, for a second there, I thought I broke it already. There it is. Opens pretty good. Definitely assisted. I'm gonna set that guy there for $15. Okay, so this one right here is $1 more. We're really not moving up the chain very much. This one has a crane on it. Turn on, it has designs on both backs, but I will say that clip is abysmal. That is just disgusting. I hate this. So I did want to mention that in the pictures, it was very deceptive, showing that this right here looked like real metal, but it is absolutely not real. This is just painted on in that kind of enamel skin, and there's a little bit of texture on it, but not very much. It's mostly just a smooth paint on there. So it's completely fake. It's just a plastic piece with a design on it. Let's go ahead and try to open it, see what happens. All right, opens decently well. Decent tanto blade shape. Dull. It's definitely pretty dull, not a very great edge. It says USA design. The liner is very thin liner, so that's going to fail. You obviously don't have any of that tension we were talking about with that other knife. So if you have any back pressure on this, this is definitely going to bend in place, and your knife will close on you. As far as wobble goes, I didn't wobble the other ones, but this one's obviously terribly wobbly. Go ahead and grab these other ones. Yeah, wobbly, very wobbly. Oop. This one, yeah, there's a lot of flex. Oh, geez. Okay, so I just gave this first one a little flex, and that is just terrible. That is going to snap in half. All right, so the first knife here, I just want to show how, oh, it's already loosening up a ton. but it is, yeah, that is already flexed. So that's the first one. That I'm just snapping it already without very much work at all. It's breaking down. All right, so now we're gonna move on to these mid-tier knives. This little guy right here looked significantly bigger in the picture. I just wanted to show you what it is. It's the this one right here, Pocket Samurai for $21.57. So all right, here we go. So open it up, little tanto blade. So you have some actual etching in there, so that's not going to rub off quite as fast. The blade, decently sharp. It's sharper than the other ones. Obviously, it's very small. I'm going to go ahead and wiggle on that joint. It's a little tough because I don't want to cut myself. It's a pretty small knife here, but it's decently strong for how small it is. It's stronger than the other ones, especially that first one. The first one was terrible. That liner is a little thicker than this guy here, and this one's obviously a much larger knife. The clip here, we can see the clip construction is pretty thick. Actually, probably a little too thick, to be honest, for such a small knife. It doesn't really flick open very well at all. It doesn't really, yeah, that's not a, it is ambidextrous. Well, it's switchable, so you can take that, use a little Torx nut and switch that to the other side. Oh, but there's no place to change the clip, so the clip cannot change to the other side. So you're pretty much stuck with what you got. Moving on. All right, so here is the Ktactical. So right away, the fit and finish of this is much better. This is actual carbon fiber on here for the entire length of the handle. I mean, it feels great. It looks great. You can see the depth of it. You have that lug right there. Definitely a thicker lug. So there's no spring assisted in this. You can see that liner lock is decently strong, decently thick. Moves out of the way, nice and smooth. Yeah, this is a pretty good smooth knife for $24.95. I really like the chrome finish on the blade. And really nice polish. It has a slight hollow grind, comes up to the edge. The edge is actually razor sharp, so that is amazing. Right out of the box, you get a very sharp knife. I like the shape. It's also, the grind is on both sides of the knife, the grind and polish. You have the laser etch of the logo right there is amazing. I like that lug. It's very nice. I'm a really big fan of this carbon fiber. It's very durable, very light in the pocket. It's great. One of the really cool things is that it does have that recessed deep curve clip with the logo on it. I like this clip a lot, and it's also ambidextrous, so you can go ahead and switch it on the other side. So this is a very well built $25 knife for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and give it my bend tip. Oh wow, that is, whoops. Okay, there we go. Kind of like it didn't. Oh, it's just the liner lock. Okay, so left and right, it's decently pretty tight. It's not the strongest construction I've ever seen in my life, but it's pretty good. Very durable, very nice, very stylish. I like the coloring. I really love the carbon fiber. That's a really nice touch for $25. I have absolutely no idea how the manufacturer can add actual carbon fiber handles on this for only $25. Oh, not to be biased, this is my complete and absolute honest opinion, but Ktactical is sponsoring this video as they sponsor the very large majority of our videos. So moving on, so we have our Vortec. Our Vortec here, this is probably the favorite of most of the people in the office here. It has G10 handle. That's a very nice high-end handle material. It's lightweight, has a nice liner lock. So it's pretty smooth action, clips in pretty good. It's polished around the corner, so it's good on your finger. It lies pretty smooth in the knife, opens very smooth. There's no assist to it, but it's a pretty smooth open. The only way to open it doesn't have a stud at all, but just has this little flick. Does anybody know what that? If anybody knows what this little flick is called in a pocket knife, go ahead and add that to the comments, please, because I like it, but I don't really know how to use it, or I don't really know the name of it. One really unique thing about this particular knife is the clip here. So it has a deep set clip, and you notice it's recessed for the screws actually go right in through the hole, which is actually kind of cool. This ball here allows space in your clip to allow fabric to slip in there pretty easily without damaging it, and gives room for it to hold on to the edge of your pants or your belt and be able to hold pretty secure. So that's a pretty unique clip design. I do like it. It seems to be very effective. It seems to slide in and out of the pocket very well. Seems to open pretty quickly. Also has a very nice factory edge. No treatment to the blade though, and the handle material is pretty nice. It seems decently firm, decently strong. We haven't done any testing on it, but it seems to not move too much. All right, now I'm going moving on to the 3 most expensive knives here. This first one's going to be $32.95, so $33. All right, well, that one sucks. All right, here we go. So this is a solid construction for the handle. It looks like it might be steel. I don't think it's aluminum. It might be some kind of alloy, but it's just a kind of stone tumbled metal with like kind of a crisscross design on it. Very durable. Probably, as it beats up, probably will look pretty much the same. So that's kind of a nice feature. The liner lock comes all the way down. The spring portion seems decently strong. It has that same feature. As you squeeze it, as you use it, it holds itself together stronger. So it's pretty durable as a knife. I do like this sharpening lug here, this hole that goes right before the blade. That's by design to allow you to sharpen the blade easier. So if you ever see that lug there, there is some use to that as well for dripping blood away from your hand, but I don't really know how effective that is. This is it's ground on both sides of the blade. You have a recurve grind on the back on your spine here, bring down the weight. The blade is definitely decently sharp. Go ahead and give it a wiggle test. Oh yeah, that's actually really strong. Okay, so this one, we can see in the mechanism how large that screw is. I'm not exactly sure how big the bolt is going through, but it definitely, well, it's about that big. Yeah, it's definitely a very durable joint there. That's not moving on you at all. Overall, this is a very well-built knife. Don't tell Ktactical I said that. All right, moving on. This one right here is the CEO from CRKT. This one is my particular favorite. It is not the most durable knife for sure. This one costs $39.99, so $40 for this little knife. I like that the profile is approximately a thick pen. I've always wanted a knife that was approximately the profile of a pen. I like the recurved clip. I think this is a great clip. I like the clip design very much. As it sits in the pocket, it looks very much like a pen. It's not as rounded as I'd like at the top for it to look exactly like a pen, as you can kind of see this profile here, but it doesn't present itself as a knife very easily. I will go ahead and deploy it now. It's another lock liner. So it has that traditional sweep. It doesn't exactly have the Tanto blade in there, but it has kind of a Japanese-inspired sweep there. It is ground on both sides. It is very sharp. It is not very durable, as I had said, so it flexes considerably. So it flexes at the joint, but then also the entire body flexes. So this is not a good working knife by any means, but it is a great knife to keep in your pocket if you're wearing a suit, or if you don't exactly expect to get into a knife fight, but you want to have a sharp and small and very light knife on hand. The handle material here, it looks kind of like carbon fiber, but it's definitely not. It's just a lightweight plastic. It doesn't even look like G10. It's slightly textured. It feels pretty smooth. At the end of the day, it's definitely not what you want in a knife fight or even for general utility use. It'll open a box though. It'll open your mail for sure. It's a very classy little knife, and I do like it a lot. It opens very quickly. So this is not assisted. It just has a very smooth ball bearing open. It does not have the little flicker in the back. All right, now here's the Mack Daddy. So this is $131.94 for this guy. This guy is your top-end knife. Well, it's a very high-end knife here. It's a Makusta. Now, it's clear to me that this is just aluminum handles right there with a steel liner. It's a decently thick spine on the knife. The lugs are on both sides for deploying it. It doesn't have the little flicker thing. Let's see what happens when I open it up. Oh, that sucked. Let's try again. Okay. So the opening process is not as smooth as I'd like. Liner lock here. Locks into place. It's decent. The clip here. This is a terrible clip. This thing is dreadful. So this clip here pinches against the, so this clip is dreadful. So you can switch it. That's kind of a nice feature that you can switch the clip to this side, but it does not sit deep in the pocket. It doesn't have a recessed clip or anything. It curves this way, so it pinches whatever's holding it, and it lays against the handle very firm. So it's going to hold in the pocket very tightly, but it's going to be very difficult to get out of the pocket. not a big fan of that clip design. That's very, very odd. But it does, I guess it might lower the profile by having no gap there, but I'm pretty sure that that's very inefficient. So it curves around this way very tightly. Now that it goes all the way up to the top, it presses out right here. So all the squeezing power is up here, and it's kind of leaving this gap here, which is, you know, great for countertops as you're walking by them, to have a nice little piece of steel sticking out. It's great for your wooden furniture as you go, oh, or maybe your car seats. So anyways, when I say great, that's sarcasm. It scratches lots of stuff. So I pull it out. It comes out okay, but it's a little grindy. It's not, yeah, see, that's not great. Get it in the hand, flick it open. It's okay. It's a little front heavy, to be honest. This handle is too small to really fit in the hand. That's not a really great handle. There's a lot of extra room. As far as the blade go, the blade is decently sharp. I think the real reason that this knife has any price at all is because it's VG10 steel. VG10 is a very good Japanese steel. Looks like it might be a Sangmai with a softer steel on the outside and then maybe a harder steel on the inside there. So it looks like it's just probably 3 layers of steel. You have 2 softer layers and one harder one. So it's 3 layers of kind of a Damascus VG10. So you're going to get a long life out of that blade. It's going to be decently sharp. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give it the wiggle test to see the strength of the joint there. And all right, I'm going to say right now I'm trying pretty much as hard as I can to break it, and it's not moving at all. So the anodized aluminum casing with this particular joint system is actually very strong for any horizontal pressure. Now you might be asking yourself, well, you're not supposed to be using a knife that way, but as you're cutting in something, if you end up torquing or turning as you're cutting into it at any given time, that's going to put stress on there, and over time that's definitely going to wear out that joint if you have a very weak joint there. So you want it to be strong in essentially all directions. The strongest being pushing down, but your left and right torque, your, you know, all of it, you want it to work well. My final conclusion that this is it's a well-built knife with good steel and a good joint, but this clip design is terrible. It doesn't open very easily, and this liner's a little thin. So the first time I opened it, it was really stiff, but now that I've opened it a little bit, the lubrication has kind of moved through the knife. It's warmed up a little bit, so it opens a lot smoother now. So the knurling is not great. Actually, this is gonna kind of sucks. So the knurling here, this placement of your thumb, doesn't really allow for a lot of pressure into the knife. So you'd actually rather your thumb be like up here if you're gonna use the knife, but it doesn't really accommodate that. There's a bump here that kind of hits the angle of your thumb, and the blade is too small, so you can't choke up on it. If you put your index finger, it just doesn't work. Like, there's nothing. Why is that rigid there if you can't put your thumb on it? That's not what the knife is for. It's weird. I don't like it. This knife sucks. Okay. So, in my personal opinion, I'm going to go ahead and arrange these from my favorite to least favorite. So, my favorite, second favorite, third favorite, fourth favorite, these three are kind of, oh, that one sucks. I hate that one. That one also sucks. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Alright, buddy. So I went ahead and arranged these from my first favorite to my least favorite. This one right here is my first favorite, not because it is the best knife on this table, but just because I like this design. I haven't really seen a lot of these, and I really like the fit and finish of this design. It really appeals to me. I really want to put a knife like this in my collection. That being said, I think this one is probably built the most practical with the G10 handles, this ball bearing clip. This is probably the knife that I would like the most. It's decently sharp. This one right here, I really like it. I like the design. I really love the quality of the handle. Obviously, it looks fantastic. The lug is a little hard to get on. It doesn't, it's okay. It goes back and forth on whether it's easy to open. But the lug is not ambidextrous, so I can't switch the side of the lug, but I do love the fact that the clip is ambidextrous. I love that it flows back in. I really like the color or the finish on the blade. It's very smooth. It's of decent construction. But yeah, it all comes back to that carbon fiber handle and how light it is. It is really light for how large and durable it is. This guy right here, you know, it has some quality features, good VG10 steel. It's not very ergonomic. It doesn't sit in the hand really great. Even though it has some pretty quality features to it, the design is pretty lackluster. I like this one for how durable it is. I don't think there's much that can go wrong with this. It's just a chunk of steel. I think 5 years from now, this knife is probably gonna look almost exactly like this. I mean, it might be a little duller, it might have some chips in your blade, but it's a very thick blade. You can always just grind a new edge on it. So I like that about this. This is a very durable, long-lasting knife, especially for its price point. And then from here on out, we have what I call this is the commode. We'll call this the commode because it's crap. These guys are just really terrible, plasticky knives. I like inexpensive knives that I can treat like crap, but these are so bad that they're a liability. I really feel like after having this in your pocket for a week, it's going to break and it may end up hurting you. All these they weigh too much, they're too heavy. The steel is obviously not very good, but not only is the steel not good, but the quality of the handle and the mechanism, they're just too cheap to last very long at all. Well, in my opinion. And then, yeah, this guy's pretty useless. I mean, jeez, man. Like, that's a little letter opener guy there, but yeah, I have no faith in my ability to use this under any circumstances. You know, you have what you have kind of situation, but man, that's a rough go. I suspect if I had to use this to fight or something, it'd probably end up breaking on me. I'd probably end up cutting my hand, actually. One of my least favorite features of knives is when they're slimline, when they're smooth all the way across, and you can just glide straight up them into the blade. So if I were to poke anything, if my hand slid up to the blade and cut my fingers, I'm not a big fan of knives that are designed in such a way.
All right.